is funded by viewers like you. Support our independent journalism at patreon.com/narrative. It's 1974 and Nixon is on the verge of being impeached. The House is investigating his illegal activities and they're breaking into Watergate. And the Reverend Moon decides to hold a 3-day fast and prayer vigil on the Capitol steps. Did you know this? Do you know about this thing? 3 days of fasting and praying on behalf of Nixon and everyone in Congress, really, and the investigators. Now, it was meant to be pretty universal. They spoke about everybody, but part of it was really to support Nixon himself. Now, one of the people in attendance there, they were wearing these nice placards. Each of them represented a different representative. And in this case, there's Richard Nixon and his wife that were being represented. And it was a big event. Even Nixon sent them a nice telegram saying, hey, you guys, thanks so much for doing all this for me. Really appreciate all the outreach from the Moonies. But this guy was there. The guy on the very right here. Now, this may not be the exact guy because the age difference makes me a little nervous. But Robert Herring, how many Robert Herrings can there be in the Mooney community? Not many. According to the internet, at least, the guy on the very right there is Robert Herring, who was part of this community opposing the impeachment, praying for Nixon way, way back. Now, keep that name in mind because we'll come back to it in a second. The Moonies, that very extravagant sort of cult, really, there's no other way to describe who they were. The Reverend Moon thought of himself as Christ. That was his thing. He didn't believe that there was another Christ. He was there as Christ himself, and he was going to reunify the two Koreas. He originated from North Korea, but spent the rest of his life in South Korea. But in the midst of all of that, came to America and made a bucket load of money. And he also did these things. You remember these?
Oh, yeah.
Like massive weddings.
Mass weddings.
Hundreds and hundreds of people, even like Madison Square Garden.
Mrs. Moon will now proclaim the couple's man and wife.
Gotta get the moment. Gotta get the moment.
1982년 7월 1일 여기 2000
Yeah, so it's pretty wacky stuff. These guys are out to lunch. They do say I do, by the way. Everyone gets married.
Not at all like yes. No themes of royalty there at all.
Oh, no, nothing. No, nothing like that at all. This guy really, and people treated him like he was Christ. Called the True Parents was the name of him and his wife by all their followers. Yeah. And one of those followers was that Robert Herring guy. Remember Robert Herring from earlier on? Robert Herring is also the owner, could be the owner if it's the same person, of One America Network, which in 2013 joined up with the Moonies' other big media property, the Washington Times. So the Moonies had their church on the one side, and they also had a whole lot of business property, billions of dollars. And one of the things they did was they started the Washington Times in opposition to the Washington Post. Now, it's never really been in opposition to the Post because it still only had 100,000 subscribers. They've spent billions of dollars trying to build a right-wing, anti-communist, right-wing conservative newspaper in Washington, and it's still there, the Washington Times. You can still check it out. And then in 2013, One America Network became the sister network to the Washington Times. So now you got the Moonies, although they don't officially own One America Network, they're partnered strategically with One America Network in 2013. Now, if you go to the website of One America Network, it's filled with exciting things like Sidney Powell saying that Democrats are turning America into a totalitarian communist state. On the right there, you can also learn about the historic Arizona elections audit, and you can watch the counting live. You can really watch the counting live. Here's a look at what it looks like. There's like multiple cameras. This was late at night, so there was no one counting. But they're taking this Arizona elections audit very seriously over there. On screen, on TV, they're known for two things, mainly. This woman on the left here, Chanel Rion, I guess is her name. She's the daughter of Chanel. I don't know. She's not her real name. She's the daughter of a well-known embezzler, apparently. So she's had to change her last name, at least. But she's, done things like the Seth Rich conspiracy, the Pizzagate conspiracy, the Hunter Biden conspiracy, the Dominion conspiracy. She's really done it all. And she's also was the one with Rudy Giuliani to go to Ukraine and shoot all those fake propaganda things that they shot over there. There she is with Donald Trump manhandling her. It looks a little bit like, it doesn't look like a very appropriate way for the president to be talking to a White House correspondent or being with the White House correspondent. But that's the former president. And then Jack Posobiec. Tell us a little bit about Jack.
These are spies.
Yeah.
These people I'm sorry, they're really filthy, dirty, disgusting. Some of the stuff about Posobiec is that he says his name a little bit different.
The pronunciation is prick. That's
prick. That's it. He started way back when, and I think it was Kurt Weldon's, who is like the Dana Rohrabacher of his own day, of that congressman's office. So he was a liaison in that office with a bunch of Russians.
I mean, he's a neo-Nazi. At least he likes to hang out with neo-Nazis, and he likes to
hang out with them. He
promotes them heavily.
He was in the Navy at some point. That's what the Kremlin loves to put, their American spies through the Navy. So he did, I don't remember what it was he did there, but he came out of that. So he had some of that cred at some point.
He also did the hack on Emmanuel Macron's.
He was behind Pizzagate. He was behind Macron leaks. He's a fucketeer. Yeah. He's a fuckaloo. And so he's very skilled. God knows where he got the training and doing the propaganda. Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, that hamburger that she was, Hamburger Huckabee loved this boy and gave him a press pass back when she was press secretary, and even when she was deputy press secretary, when Sean Spicer was in there. He was with Rebel News. He got a very early press pass to the Trump White House and used to take a lot of pictures. It was alarming to those of us who knew who he was. He was also a big operative in the 4chan, back when we had 4chan, before everything became a con, right? When you had 4chan and 8chan. And on 4chan, he ran a little show he was very tight in with Mike Flynn and Flynn Jr. This is the little core group here. Yeah. So he's running around with everybody's kids, and he had a little thing called Weaponized Autism. And it was his show that he put together to help get autistic children to follow him and to think that they had superpowers. And if they just subscribed and looked at what he was doing and followed along with him, that maybe they could help take down ISIS and use their skill sets and their unique minds. And so he very much was locked into and targeting autistic children as well as young adults and radicalizing them.
He straight up also retweets Russian propaganda from things that have been identified as Russian propaganda. He's not just That's right. Yeah, he doesn't hide the fact that he's a Russian propagandist. No. 1 million followers on Twitter. He's very influential, and he's an anchor on OANN, so you get an idea of what it's like over there. But I was watching today, and I think we should just take 30 seconds, if we can stomach it for 30 seconds. Just for 30 seconds, because this is what 35% of the American population thinks of as news right now. If they're watching OANN, we need to know what it looks like.
Our nation is facing a momentous challenge, one on a scale never before imagined. There's mounting evidence casting credible doubts about our election integrity, and that raises a very serious question. What happens if fraud is detected and it's proven that a sitting president didn't lawfully win the election? From a strictly legal standpoint, what would be the consequences if we discover that Joe Biden is occupying the White House due to fraud and President Trump is the actual winner of the 2020 election?
I mean, it just goes on. I won't do this to you very much longer, but this is their news. This is actually
one of the guys. One of the guys on that show, his name is Greg Kelly, I think, right?
That's the other one. That's on Newsmax. That's a more moderate version.
I'm getting my idiot.
No, you're not alone. But there's OANN on the very extreme.
I don't watch any of this stuff.
Newsmax in the middle, and Fox is the sort of moderate one, really. When you look at that,
I pronounce it Newsmax.
Newsmax.
It's Newsmax.
But this is the problem. You've got the Moonies running a TV network, pushing a conspiracy theory that is insane. They not only are pushing a conspiracy theory, they set the conspiracy theory. We would not even be having count at all.
That is why we need the Justice Department to speak to us every day.
But they not only are setting the fire, they're covering the fire, and the rest of America is just watching and waiting for something to happen. And these guys are foreign-owned cult is bringing you this news into American homes, and they're allowed to do it for some reason. And it's just, there's no, like, why are we allowing a foreign-owned cult from this guy who used to marry millions of people in these mass ceremonies and, believed he was Jesus Christ? Why is he funding a network in America? And why is it on cable
He's still
networks?
alive.
The after show is so thankful tonight to our sponsor, Helix Sleep. Please support them. I've heard it from so many people. The one thing that's changed since January is their sleep. Not waking up worrying about what the president might have done or said or tweeted makes the world of a difference. I don't think I had a good solid night's sleep in 4 years. And it wasn't only the president. My 10-year-old mattress, which started life as a 12-inch foam mattress, had shrunk to an 8-inch mattress, and getting out of bed was often more of a slide than a bounce. It was time for a new mattress. Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Why would you buy a mattress made for somebody else? Changing the course of a country can take a village. Changing the course of your sleep takes a quiz. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/narrative. That's the way we spell narrative, N-A-R-A-T-I-V. That's helixsleep.com/narrative for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows just for you.
Still alive.
No, he's dead. He's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah, but
Did he die on the cross? Because if he didn't, then he isn't Jesus. That should be the proof.
It's true. It's true. Thank you for that.
Did they give him water? Did he make fishes out of the loaves at these fucking weddings? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. He made billions of dollars off Americans.
Make wine out of this, motherfucker.
Cheers.
People are so dumb. Why would anyone think that guy was any goddamn thing?
Well, good question. But why would anyone believe that Donald Trump is still the president of the United States? On the website, the OANN, they still say President Trump. They don't say former President Trump. They say President Trump.
They say president. And I want to say something on this. So I had cable news on yesterday. I wasn't feeling well. I came back. I was supposed to have my spa day. Everybody canceled. I ended up getting a quasi massage. I came back feeling sick from that. It was a shit day. So I'm in shit bed, watching the stupid fucking cable. And I listened to a news host call him the president, Donald Trump, the president. And I listened to the pundit call him the president because they were speaking about Trump and they don't know how to shift. And they were, it wasn't, I don't think it was sinister. It was nothing like that. I'm just saying they're so addicted to him. They don't know how to detach from it. I've heard Jake Sherman call him the president. So they all still call him the president.
But it's okay to do. Normally, it's okay to do. Normally, you do call the former president the president.
In your job.
This time we can't do it. We can't be doing it anymore. We can't call this former president the president because he is. Normally, out of respect, you can't call him president. You'd say President Obama with no problem. But he doesn't. He's not claiming to still be the president of the United States. Well, I wish he would half the times. So anyhow, that's what OAN is, and they should be taken off the air. I don't know who has to do this. I don't know how it happens. I don't.
It goes back to what we were talking about last week. This shit it's national security. It's a fucking national security crisis.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to go on and say this shit. It's fucking bad faith stuff, and it needs to be taken down. That's it.
No one would really notice. I mean, it's a fairly small network. It doesn't have like fans. It would just disappear, and it would be okay. It would be like RT being taken off YouTube or something like that. It's not a significant event really at all. But because
not getting back onto Facebook.
Yeah, not a significant thing, not a big deal. Just someone's going to go in and do it. Someone's going to tell these guys, you're really funded by the Moonies, and it doesn't really make sense for you to run a political news network here in the United States through this front company with Mr. Herring.
You have to be to go on the OAN website and click through and watch people count the votes in Arizona from an election that was decided 5 months ago. How bored you have to be. How little must be going on in your life.
Well, so what happened?
But they are the ones who set the vote up. They've got their guys there with the Dominion voting machines.
The Arizona GOP is a massive problem. They have been retweeting QAnon for a long time. They have been aligned with Proud Boys and white supremacist movements for a long time and actively have no issue. I can't even remember the name of the woman who ran that thing down there in Arizona. It's horrible. These are, again, How did they get so fucking skilled at this? This is my question. How do you come out of the gate trained in this military science of this level of propaganda? Where do they fucking get this fucking training? Who's training these motherfuckers? I know who trained Trump. Who trained the rest of them?
The money to run the network like that. 150 people work there. 150 people. That's 150 salaries you're trying to pay for
It's not a natural thing for Americans. I'm sorry. It's not a natural thing for Americans. Now, they're good at it now. They know what they're doing. They didn't know in the beginning, but now they're good at it. And some of them came right out of the gate knowing how to do it. Look at Kellyanne Conway. Right out of the gate, that bitch, right? Knew exactly how to do this shit. How did she know? Who taught her?
January 6th.
These are the kinds of questions that make me. I can't stop thinking about it.
Not only did OANN set up everyone to go to January the 6th, but they had 5 crews there, which is a big deal for a small network like this. Sandy Bacon, who was there, she said there was so many reporters from OANN. They were ready for this. They had their flags out. This was their event. So they set it up.
Yep.
They get their friends from the Chinese nationals, whoever they were, to fund the Proud Boys so they can go in and run this insurrection while their Mooney network on cable TV gets to throw it to everybody and incite everybody into believing that there's something real going on here.
Let me connect some dots there, because let's go back to Rudy Giuliani and Steve Bannon. So when Rudy Giuliani was doing his big Ukrainian investigation into the Hunter thing and all of this, he was going to come back with his report and his dossier. Remember, this was post first impeachment. He was off, even though he started this fire and that led to the first impeachment. He still was going back there and shooting the documentary. He did that with Chanel Ryan.
Yeah.
So OAN has been in there with Giuliani and Bannon. I can answer my own question, you guys. I know who trained these people, but I want everybody to start thinking in those terms, right? So they staged that whole insurrection. That was their big event. They had their merch and they had their promos and they had their staging and they knew what was going down. They knew what it was about.
Something that just occurred to me is that this idea now, talking about how they got the training and this and that, the Birthergate thing, the birther, whatever you want to call it, pop, okay? It's the same fundamental principle. We tend to look at it now as being racist, which it obviously is, but what they're trying to do is the same thing. They're trying to invalidate exactly what that fuckbag from that idiot thing with the terrible tie said. What happens if a president is not allowed to be the president? What would we do? The answer is nothing. Probably it's what's done is done. Ty goes to the.
He goes on. He'll give you
what's going on.
All the case history. He gives you all the case history as to what would happen. He's got a whole map mapped out.
Yeah, good for him. He can go fuck himself.
Yeah, I agree.
Biased to be in machine, buddy. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to invalidate. They were trying for 8 years to invalidate Obama, on the grounds that he wasn't a U.S. citizen.
That's right. It wasn't for 8 years. It actually started in, I think it was 2011. I mapped out this timeline because as soon as Mueller came out with the stuff tying Mogilevich into transnational organized crime, into terrorism, boom, birther up. And it came out of Arpaio. It came out of Joe Arpaio. Joe Arpaio and his crew were some of the first ones, even predating Donald. And every time Donald, just by a couple weeks, but then after that, every time Donald would come on and say, I've got my guys, I've got people looking into it. His people were Arpaio's thugs that were running around Hawaii, harassing people and trying to manufacture shit. This Joe Arpaio from I have to say it. He's a fucking mobster from Springfield, fucking Massachusetts, Camorra Mafia. His father came over. He went over. He ran that border in Arizona.
They're all mobsters.
For the bananas. Lock me up. Come and get me. I got the history on these motherfuckers. I know where they're from. I know what region in Italy their ancestors came from. I know who they were hooked into. I know I know who that guy is. I'm sorry. He was actually the only one who, back in the day, had an arrest warrant for Meyer Lansky and actually caught him at one point.
Interesting.
That's Joe Arpaio. He's an Italian mobster. I know it's hard to think about Arizona that way, but the mob fucking loves Arizona. That's where Gravano went.
Are these guys mobsters?
Oh, here we go. Here's some fucking mobsters right here. In the Havana room, right? They had to name it after Cuba. Speaking of Lansky, in the Havana room, that is, in Jared Kushner building, there they are plotting and scheming. And I think this is the one actually where we can find a purse on a chair at one point, because there was a woman in this room.
Oh, yeah. I think there was. I can't remember where someone found it. Yeah.
It wasn't Sidney Powell, but it might have been KT McFarlane. It was somebody was in there helping them plot and scheme. There's fucking stupid ass Rudy and Parnas and oh my god, and look at them, Fruman as well, Igor. They're all on their goddamn phones.
They're
all on their phones as if they're in a skiff. These idiots. So there they are scheming and talking on their phones
and their little cigar lighters and their it's just so bad. I don't know who the guy at the end of the table. I don't know who the head
I can't remember. I know who that is.
This is what was foreign diplomacy for 4 years in the United States under the Trump organization, under the Trump administration. This is what qualified, and this is why Rudy's in so much trouble right now. He's in serious trouble, and if the word is true in all these reports that he's running out of money. It wouldn't be surprising considering his really expensive divorce that he's been through and his really expensive lifestyle. And if he is running out of money, and I guess there's an implied threat from his son, from Andrew Giuliani, saying that he will flip unless Donald starts paying the bills.
Listen, let me tell you. Okay, Zev, you can attest to this.
Yeah.
And so can you, Greg. How long ago did I say to you guys, first of all, Rudy cleared out the fucking Italians to make way for the Russian mafia, number one, and that he's a monster. And number two, that Donald and Rudy fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
This is a marriage of convenience.
Yeah. They hate each other. They absolutely do.
Now we're seeing it. You guys were like, really? They seem so good. I'm like, oh, no, they fucking hate each other. Now we're seeing it. Now we're seeing these two creatures. And let me tell you something. Donald Trump doesn't stand a fucking chance up against Rudy Giuliani. He doesn't. And Rudy Giuliani is no Paul Manafort. He is not a made man. He was not born to go to prison. He chose a different path with his lineage. He chose to do something else because he wanted the fanciness. It's not that Manaforte actually is that man's name. It's not that Manaforte didn't want the riches. It's just he knows who and what he is. He's a creature of the underworld. They both are. They all three are. And Manafort, I'm sure, knew at some point he was going to have to go away. And so he went away. And he looked fucking great. He
looked good.
He looked good. It was
like your spa week. It was better than your spa week.
Yeah, it's better. He came out better than my fucking spa day. But Giuliani, there's no way Rudy Giuliani is going to spend 1 fucking second in a prison. No way. And now, it doesn't mean he won't. And just for Giuliani, he's going to do whatever he has to do. And I'm telling you, this guy has He's got every deck of cards that exist. He's got tarot cards. He's got Uno cards. He's got every card game that exists on the planet. That guy's got whatever the ace or the special card is. Yeah. He's got them up his sleeve, in his back pocket, all about, there you go, all about fucking Donald Trump. Donald Trump is afraid of Rudy Giuliani. He's afraid of it.
That's why he's going to pay. That's why he's going to pay the legal fees. He's going to have to. Because you imagine the amount of dirt that he has. He's got decades of dirt on Donald Trump. He knows everything. He knows everybody.
He's got it all. He's got it all. He will use it. He knows how to work the Justice Department. Holy shit.
This is how he created the scheme. He created all this stuff. He knows exactly how to turn into a cooperating witness. It's going to be interesting.
I can't believe that Rudy and Trump don't like each other, being that they're so fucking unlikable that I don't understand how anybody likes either one of them. Take the most unlikable person and combine them with the other most unlikable person. There was a guy that I took a screenwriting class in college, and there was a guy in the class, I can't remember who it was, who had an idea for a movie. And the idea was, the pitch was, it was a horror movie, and the idea was, what if a guy's hitchhiking, okay? What if the guy your mom warned you never to pick up is picked up by the driver that your mom warned you never get into the car with? What would happen? So they're both psycho. That would be the movie. That's
like that GOP careening off the edge,
It's GOP careening off the edge, and that's
with Rudy and Donald in the front seats.
Yeah. We call that road horror. So it's a road horror. I've written a couple of those. Yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's a good analogy. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's the mom?
It's still Cheney.
It's
still Cheney.
This Cheney. Is it Liz? Is it Liz Cheney?
She's the only sane person there. She must be her.
No, the mom is I don't know, Virginia Thomas. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. I think
right. Yeah, maybe that's the mom.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We will be back on Tuesday. Until then, have yourself a great weekend. Don't forget to sign up at patreon.com/narrative, or you can go to Greg Olear's amazing Substack at Greg Olear. Of course, it's GregOlear.com.
It's just Greg
Olear. You guys download the podcast. I'm going to say this because you guys are you're getting better at plugging, Zev. Greg's terrible at plugging, so I will plug. You guys honestly download the podcast, even though you're watching it live and then record it later. We need the downloads. The downloads are how these two fine gentlemen are able to monetize what they're doing. It is not a cheap endeavor to constantly do this all the time. And so we need your downloads. So just download it.
So yes, please. Yeah. But Greg's podcast, Prevail.
And Narrative. That's right.
And there we go. That's the show for tonight. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Narrative is funded by viewers like you. Support our independent journalism at patreon.com/narrative.